What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Zoe with Wnba Dfs here to bring you a WNBA slate breakdown for the Commissioner's Cup game. If you guys are new here, welcome to the channel. Hopefully you guys subscribe so you guys don't miss any of the content that we're putting out over here for the sports that we have coming up. We will have some more NFL content, some college football content, NBA when that starts back up. Hopefully I can get the hockey goats themselves to come on here and talk to you guys as well and give us some breakdowns for that, because I do plan on getting into hockey this season, but we are still focused on the WNBA. So make sure you guys hit that like button if this stuff is helping you in any way, shape, or form, and let's get right into it. We got the Commissioner's Cup game. We got one game for Tuesday, one game on Thursday, and then we have a full 5-game slate. Pretty much everybody is off this week. Again, scheduling, I don't know, guys. I don't know why we don't have any games on Wednesday. I really don't know why we only have the same repeat of a game on Thursday, the New York Liberty taking on the Las Vegas Aces, after they will have just played for the Commissioner's Cup. But hey, some bright bulb in the WNBA's office decided to make the schedule this way, and that's what we have. So we've already seen these two teams play twice this season. This is going to be a showdown slate. If you guys aren't familiar with showdown, check some of the other videos, but I will go over it a little bit, and pretty much we will try to break this down. For the injury news, New York, nothing new. They got all their players back. She might be back from her overseas obligation that she was gone for, but even if she's back, she's not going to really play any minutes. And then for Las Vegas Aces, I know Alicia Clark, she was a late scratch yesterday, so she didn't play. And then Candace Parker, she's of course going to still be out. Starters should still be the same for the Las Vegas Aces, so nothing new right there. Now, I already said these two teams, they played twice already, once on the 29th back in June, and then the 6th recently, earlier this month. Pretty much, they're 1-for-1 right now in their matchups. They still have technically 2 more games for the season after this Commissioner's Cup game. That just so happens to be the 3rd game between these two teams, and then they're going to play again on Thursday, and then we'll get them again later on in the month on the 28th. So they're 1-1. We've seen two different things. Each team has won on their home court. Last time the Liberty played the Aces, they legit blew the door off of them. And in that game, it was the 99-61 win for the New York Liberty, and that was an embarrassment for the Aces. Of course, the Aces next game went out there and destroyed my Dallas Wings. We're not gonna talk about it. I know it was sad, but with these showdown slates with teams that have already played each other, some of the things that I like to do is go back and look, of course, rewatch the game, see what happened, see some of the things that might have stuck out, the adjustments that these teams made, because that's really what it is. Every single time these teams match up with each other, you would expect them to make some kind of adjustment, someone to be different, something for us to pay attention to on why this team won, like who did they hold down, things like that, XYZ. For the Aces, I'm not too sure exactly. Of course, you guys can do this yourself. Go back, look at their game log, see. Of course, they were on the road for this game for New York, so maybe this is more than likely one of their East Coast trips that they were on. Probably had a couple of other games that they already played in the week. Indiana Fever, the Chicago Sky, the Dallas, not Dallas, the Dream. So those might have been some games that they already had that week for being on the road. Could have been one of those 10-day stretches where they're on the road going into this game. Tired legs and everything. Girls ready to get home. Boom, dropped it. Okay, cool. But we could still take some things from this game. One of those things, of course, being we finally, of course, seeing Jonquel Jones is one of the bigger issues, I would kind of say, that we are finally seeing. She's getting her full load of minutes finally. She's playing at least 30 minutes in most of these games. Now, for a Commissioner's Cup game, a game that's going to mean quite a bit bonuses for these women, charity donations and stuff like that, they're going to want to play. They're going to want to show out. They're going to want to come in here and do what they got to do. Last year, the Aces, they won this game. So pretty much this is almost a preview of what we're going to get for the WNBA Finals, I'm pretty sure, unless somehow, some way, someone knocks off the New York Liberty, because I don't really see anybody knocking out the Aces on the West side. Really, that's going to be very hard to do. They're just honestly stopped from top to bottom on this roster and this team, unless someone goes out there and has a really bad day. But when you got A'ja Wilson playing at the MVP level that she's playing at, the floor general, and Chelsea Gray that she is, Kelsey Plum and Jackie Young both playing really well. Jackie Young in contention for most improved player again this season. So really, the Aces, they just kind of got that full squad. Now, New York Liberty, they've been the ones that have been least inconsistent throughout the season. I mean, their record pretty much says it. They're 22-6. They should really be closer to what the Aces are, where they're 24-3 and only losing 3 games. And really, those games that they've lost have come off of, tired legs, not even back to backs, but just tired legs, road games, and just games that they should have won that they dropped the ball on. So going into this one, like I said, I like to look at the game log, see what happened in those prior games. And of course, like I said, Jonquil Jones, her minutes actually going up is one of the things that stood out. And the fact that, she had the 14 rebounds, 12 points, that goes with what we've already been targeting and attacking for teams going up against the Aces. We played the opposing centers. Tierra McCowan, example, of course, she got in a foul trouble, but still, in the time that she was out there on the court, practically could have had a triple-double in that game. Went off in regards to points, was rebounding out the woozah until she got, of course, those fouls. And then her assists, she was dishing the rock a lot. Same thing, we can go here and look at Jonquil Jones. She had 14 rebounds in that game going up against him, 4 assists and 12 points. 5 for 12. I'll take that. Didn't hit any of her threes, but still, the rebounding, the defensive identity that she can bring to the court, and just the little bit of points that she's going to give, that's great, especially going along with the another MVP candidate in Breanna Stewart. Stewie, of course, going out there, being able to hold her own and play up in this game, that's going to be a big thing that we're going to want. And then, of course, Sabrina Ionescu herself also bring what she can bring to the table. That's going to be huge. Those are going to be the 3 main ones, of course, I'm going to look at. Now, we're going to have to try to find some type of value, some type of cheap piece that we're going to expect to get some kind of run between the teams. Now, I went back and I found the showdown slates that both of these teams had played early in the season. This is the first game. Candace Parker, of course, she played. She dropped 55.5 fantasy points for her being in the captain spot, but it allows you to go ahead and play Jackie Young, Chelsea Gray, Kelsey Plum, Jonquil Jones, and Alicia Clark. Clark being the only bench player technically that played inside of this showdown slate, and the salary was only $4,700 to take this one down. Going over, same thing. Going over to the second time that they played, Sabrina, of course, she went off in that game. But the thing that stuck out again here, Jonquil Jones, she's in both of these lineups. And this is, of course, Jonquil wasn't playing as many minutes, and she only dropped 26 fantasy points. And this one, she dropped 40. So that's one of those things that really stuck out right there, is that, okay, maybe I want to key in and play Jonquil Jones. I was already on her for the fact that, like we said, we attack with opposing centers going up against the Aces anyway. So that really kind of solidifies it. Like, I'm definitely going to want to be looking at playing Jonquil Jones. Now, another thing, of course, this game was on New York's home court. This game was on the Aces court, and inside of this game, the scoring was 98-81. So pretty much somewhat of a close game. Looking at it, both teams started out pretty good. It was the second half that really got away from the New York Liberty. They went cold in that third quarter, and then the Aces themselves were able to go ahead and pop off. We had pretty good games from Chelsea Gray, Kelsey Plum, Jackie Young. So pretty much all the guards went off. A'ja Wilson, she had a mid-level game. Really wasn't that floor general that I'm not even gonna say floor general. Really not that MVP caliber game like what we've been seeing from her, where she's popping off for these 30, 40-point games and stuff like that. So that's definitely something to pay attention to. Is that maybe the New York Liberty have some type of defensive identity that they can go out here and impose the will on A'ja Wilson, because as you look at both of these, A'ja is not in this line at all. Now, I'm not going to say that's means that we need to fade A'ja. With the way that she's been playing lately, I'm definitely going to have to take some consideration to playing her, especially considering in this first game, Candace was playing that power forward position for them. Candace was in the winning lineup. Going over here looking at the second one, of course, we do already know New York Liberty, they blew them out. So makes sense why we only have one Las Vegas Aces, the cheapest player, $2,200 for Kayla George, who got that blowout run in that game. So really, this is kind of skewed looking at the second game anyway. So really looking more towards that first game is probably where we're going to want to pay attention to and pick our pieces from. Now, I already said, of course, we need to know if Alicia Clark is going to play, because if she's not going to play, looking at the Las Vegas Aces last game that they just played going up against the Dream, wasn't a bad game until, of course, once again, second half, the Dream, they just gave up. Honestly, coach, I don't know what the heck she's thinking and what she's doing, but looking at that, we see again, they're pretty much running a 7-woman rotation. Kayla George and Bell really being the one that they will go to and get her minutes and playing time off the bench. They love what she brings on the defensive end. And then Kayla George, of course, she had a pretty decent game, 11 points, 1 assist, 1 rebound. I'm not going to bank on that on night in, night out basis for Kayla George, especially just looking at her game logs and what she's done throughout the season. Her minutes, of course, very up and down. I expect this game to be close, so I'm not going to expect that many minutes for Kayla George in this game at all. I will expect still Bell to come in, because she's going to rotate in for Young, Plum, and Gray. That's normally what Bell comes in and does anyway. And then I'm going to expect those mega minutes for A'ja Wilson, Kia Stokes. And then again, of course, George more than likely got these minutes because they didn't have Clark. So minus George, I say these minutes will be more for Clark right here. And then we're going to just go ahead and see the starters. They're going to get the burn. I would expect close game. This game better stay close too. I would expect at least 32 to 35 minutes for the primary starters. Of course, Kelsey Plum, Jackie Young, at least 35 minutes minimum for both of these two right here. Chelsea Gray in a close game, a game that's really going to mean something to them. Definitely would expect her to be more towards the 32 to 35 minute range herself as well. Kia Stokes, maybe we can see about 25 minutes for her, considering that she is going to be needed to try to guard Jonquel Jones. I don't really feel like you're going to want to put A'ja Wilson out there on her, even though A'ja technically would be able to cook her. A'ja should be out there trying to defend Stewie because, you know, MVP versus MVP, what better matchup in game for that to happen? And then, like I said, just Stewie, I mean, not Stewie, but what A'ja Wilson just brings to the table, the steals, the blocks, the rebounding, the assists, and the points, all of that, it just looks beautiful for what she's bringing to the table. That's why you have to go ahead and consider her as a play on the slate. All right, going over the DraftKings, of course, the site that I play the most on the site that we are really referencing whenever we talk about the DFS side of things. If you guys do not have an account, check the link down in the description below so you guys get that deposit match bonus. You know, we put cores up and everything for these things over here on our Patreon. Check that link down in the description below. It's only $10. Besides just putting out the DFS stuff, we are putting out prop plays. And if you're in the Discord, I dropped 2 really good plays last night, nuked them both. Really great plays, cashed out very well. Can't really zoom out this one on the stream, but this one right here, this was one that I gave on the stream. It was Courtney Vandersloot assist, Courtney Williams for her rebounds and assists. She missed that by 2. Really didn't do too much in that game, which was honestly disappointing. And then Brittany Sykes down here at the bottom. It was a 3-pick flex. Of course, we went 2 out of 3 on this one, so still cashed. And then my Courtney Williams and Brittany Sykes, that one, I took that pairing. Unfortunately, it didn't hit. But inside of the Discord, I dropped this play right here, which was the Jackie Young and Cheyenne Parker for their first half PRA and fantasy score. Of course, as you see, that smacked one whole good 381 on that one. And then I did a second one for where? Oh, hold on one second. Where did it go? Then I went ahead and I did a second one for Chelsea Gray, Kelsey Plum for less than 34.5 points. And then I ran that back with Ryan Howard and Alicia Gray for under on their point combo prop as well. And as you see, we smacked, well, you don't see the green on this one, but we smacked this one as well because both of them went under that. So all in all, really great day over on Prize Picks from some props plays that I was able to drop. So definitely check out the Discord as well if you guys do sign up for the Patreon, because we do talk inside the Discord and we're always going over plays and things like that. So as you can see, we are making money over here as well. Not only just on the DFS side, but on the props as well. All right, going over to DraftKings, like I said, looking at it, of course, you got to be strategic and figuring out what am I going to do at this captain position? What am I going to do at this captain spot? We already seen, of course, in the blowout game, Sabrina Ionescu, she was at the captain spot, and then you just filled it in with all the other New York pieces. But in that first game that we had referenced, we seen it was Candace Parker up there and didn't use all of the salary. I think that's the biggest thing. To get different on these showdown slates, I never suggest using the whole salary. That is how you get different, because most people are trying to use as much of the salary as they can. Get wild, get crazy, take that low on play. Now, of course, Jackie Young, Chelsea Gray, Kelsey Plum, they were not priced that high on the slate. Of course, when we come over here and we look on this slate for the day, 94, Plum and Young, both 86, 88. So might not get away with stacking both of them, but possibly looking at it, Courtney Vandersloot could definitely be someone that we put into the util position. Could be her night, her game, where she can go out there. Played against the Aces in that blowout. She played 30 minutes, only gave us 24 fantasy points. And then see if there are other game log from when they played earlier. It should be in here. Oh, here it goes. 28 minutes, and she dropped 19 fantasy points. So maybe we can go to Courtney Vandersloot as a GPP play on this slate right here. Or we can run down to Laney, who didn't do bad. 32 minutes, dropped 30.2 fantasy points in that game. And then 24 minutes, she only gave us 10 in that one. So definitely some options that we could look at. But MVP position slot, the way that I see going to it, I'm not going to put A'ja Wilson in the MVP slot unless I can find something truly juicy that is going to really sway me into going that direction. I'm not going to put Brianna Stewart because that's just too much of a salary dump ticket right there. Sabrina Ionescu, Chelsea Gray, Jonquel Jones, Kelsey Plum, all of them consideration, but out of them, I'm really, of course, keying into that Jonquel Jones. I think Jonquel Jones in this position, the spot, we just like how we've already said, we attack the Las Vegas Aces with opposing centers, and I know I'm kind of beating a dead horse whenever I say that over and over again, but yeah, it's just something that I tend to end up saying every single time that they're on a slate, but we just got to figure out how are we going to get different. What are we going to put into that spot? And I definitely think looking at the Las Vegas Aces guards, Kelsey Plum, Jackie Young, both of them, those could definitely be in the consideration that we should be looking at to go ahead and put them into the MVP slot for the slate. Definitely a way for us to get different. Because like I said, I really feel like a lot of people are going to try to put A'ja Wilson, Brianna Stewart into that slot. You don't have to. Now, if you want to get wild and crazy, come down here to Laney, maybe come down here to Stokes. That'll really get you different, but I don't think you got to get that cute. I feel like this range right here, that Sabrina Ionescu coming down here to Courtney Vandersloot, this right here just feels like it's going to be the sweet spot of who we're going to want to figure out to put into that MVP slot for us on the slate. And then, of course, on the util, I'm going to want to get as many starters as I can. Now, coming down here, Bell would be, of course, consideration, who I think we can go ahead and play as a value play. And then Thornton, her minutes, they've been pretty decent over the past several games. She is getting minutes. She's getting burned. She's releasing double-digit fantasy point production. Last game going up against the Aces, she played 22 minutes and dropped 21.75 fantasy points. And then in that first game, she played 27 minutes and gave us 12 fantasy points. As we've seen from, Kayla George, I don't need that much to be able to take it down for my value play. So that is definitely a consideration for me. But Johannes, maybe a lean. I'm not fully convinced on Johannes because her splits this season has been really kind of just mid-level. Even in that blowout game, 10 minutes, 2.25 fantasy points in a blowout. I don't like that. And coming down here to what she played in the first one, she played 19 minutes. She gave us 16 fantasy points. Yeah, that looks a little bit better, but I don't know. I kind of feel like I want more or just the consistency. So how I'm talking about Mariah Johannes might actually be the play to go to just because she's giving me a distaste in my mouth. I see some people, I'm pretty sure they're going to go down here with Baby Sabally. I definitely feel that. They're probably going to look at Kayla George's last game and go to her. Now, if Clark is going to miss this game, I will say play Kayla George. That definitely would make sense because they're going to need her size. They're more likely going to run her out there, especially for having the size, and you're going to need someone else to go out there besides having Stokes. Yes, they could run a small ball lineup, put Asia Wilson at the 5, but I doubt they're going to do that for the majority of the game. Now, I know Dolson might be someone that can entice somebody. Sitting here at 2-2, she could probably be the mid-level play that we might need, maybe. But she did not play in either one of those games going up against the Aces this season. She hasn't. Let me see if I can't see what her game logs look like going up against the Aces. So I'd have to go back and look at last season from whenever Dolson played against them. In those games, she actually has a pretty decent history going up against the Aces, just looking at it. But 19, 19, and 13 minutes. 13 minutes would be more realistic of what she would actually get going up against them. So it's very hit or miss in regards to what Dolson can actually go out there and do. Unfortunately, Line Star doesn't have it updated for the slate for tomorrow yet. So, yeah, there is that. But looking at the slate, I pretty much kind of gave you guys a idea of how I'm thinking about breaking it down. For sure, I know if I'm not going to play them inside the MVP slot, I'm definitely going to try to figure out a way to play Stewie and Wilson right here. Clash of the MVPs. Maybe definitely get different. You could fade them both. Just completely fade them off the slate. And just play all the auxiliary pieces because they will take up a huge chunk of your salary. Now, if they go off for a 60, 70 burger game, yes, we're definitely going to need them in the lineup. But if they're going to go out there and give us their floor games of 40, 45, maybe a 50, you might not need them, especially if Gray, Jones, Plum, Young, Sloot all can go off and have pretty much mid-level games themselves with 30 to 40-ish fantasy points. You won't need to eat up all your salary on Asia Wilson and Brianna Stewart. But all right, guys, that's going to be it for me. I know kind of went actually a little bit long on a one-game slate, but really just trying to give you guys some value out of watching this video if you guys got the time to watch it. I will have some more content coming up on the channel throughout the week. I am excited to announce something that I will be working on, and it's for the prop side. For the people who like to play props, I have seen a lot of this EV betting stuff, so I got something for that coming down the pipeline. So get ready, stay tuned for that. We're going to be doing a little test. Little test with that. So if you guys don't have a prop account, you guys want one, check the link down in the description below because I will be focusing on price picks for this challenge that we will be doing for that. So definitely check that out so you guys get your deposit match bonus. With that being said, it's your boy Zoe. Check the Patreon. I will have a core up for this along with my player pool and what I'm playing and a prop that we will be able to sweat out on the slate. With that being said, it's your boy Zoe. Peace.